The yeas are 216. The nays are 210. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
Okay. Now, let's get something out of the way first. This is not the end of the world. I'm so floored by how many dorks there are in politics, on TV and radio, and people who write about it. I'm just blown away by this. People who clearly have never lived normal lives with real concerns, families, costs, things like that. You listen to the political world for the last 24 hours, and no matter where you fall on the spectrum, everybody's acting as if this is some life-changing thing. Oh my gosh, it's the Speaker of the House. Who gives a crap? I care about 20% cost in groceries going up. I don't care about Kevin McCarthy. I don't care about Matt Gaetz. I don't care about any of them. I don't like the House of Representatives. I don't even like the GOP. I don't care. Now, maybe you're wondering what you should be thinking about all this. And here's why it gets confusing. And other people make it confusing. This is why it gets confusing. Because people try to simplify it. I know that doesn't make sense, but that is why it gets confusing. Whenever there's something that happens, Kevin McCarthy gets bounced, for instance, everyone will run to the TV and the radio. Maybe you're on your phone, on social media. And what's everyone doing? You're trying to figure out whose side you're on, and you're trying to figure out who the good guys and bad guys are. No, that guy's a good guy, and that guy's bad, and that guy's always good, and that guy's always bad, and this guy's good, and he's doing it for good reasons, and this guy's bad, and he's doing it for bad reasons. And so it's black and white, and it's crystal clear, and this is right, and this is wrong. And the truth is, when it comes to life, war, politics, or anything else, life is complicated. This whole thing's complicated. There are some really, really, really great people who voted to bounce Kevin McCarthy from being Speaker yesterday. There are a lot of really, really terrible people who voted to bounce Kevin McCarthy from being Speaker yesterday. There are a lot of really, really wonderful people who voted to keep Kevin McCarthy as Speaker yesterday. What you saw yesterday, Game of Thrones power politics, is really all it was. Matt Gaetz, do you have to love Matt Gaetz? No, you don't. Matt Gaetz is an obnoxious human being, very clearly a narcissist. He's running for governor of Florida. That's a big reason why he did what he did. This is good publicity, sending out fundraising emails. That doesn't mean Matt Gaetz did something bad, though. Okay, narcissistic jerks can do good things that I like, too. So I can like what Matt Gaetz did and personally kind of find him off-putting. I dislike Kevin McCarthy. I'm happy he's gone. I really wanted to sit down here tonight and have this talk. More than anything else, the speaker stuff and whatnot. I wanted to have this talk. Change. Change is one of those things that we hate, and yet it is inevitable, and oftentimes it helps us. Change is almost always uncomfortable, though. That's why we hate it. If you want to change yourself, you're too fat. I'm not saying you're too fat. Maybe you are. Who knows? People struggle with weight. If you want to change that in a meaningful way, I'm not talking about going out and getting surgery. You want to change that in a meaningful way. You know what it looks like? It doesn't look pretty. You're not going to put it up on Instagram. Oh my gosh, look at my hair. It looks like a red face, sweat, smelly, miserable. That's what it looks like to go from being fat to in shape. Change hurts. Change is hard. And in life, whether it's a business, a city, a country, whatever a team, a sports team, whatever the case may be, when a change agent, a human being who is a change agent, who does things differently, when he is introduced, it is human nature to be repulsed by him. But if you say you want change, then things have to change. People on the right love talking about how corrupt and evil the government is. It's awful, it's terrible, I hate it, it's horrible, things have to change. Yes, it's got to change. When are things going to change? Things have to change. Everything has to change. And then along comes change one day, and it doesn't come along in a form that we all love, and we say, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. What is all this change? Well, if change agents looked, talked, and acted like everyone else, then they wouldn't be change agents now, would they? What I'm saying to you is this. Our system is so broken, it's difficult to even see the end of the tunnel. It's difficult to see a way where we can save our federal system. We are adding, everything else aside, border everything else aside, we are adding $1 trillion to the debt now every 3 months. You see, what's happening is, I'm trying to explain this in a way that's not going to freak people out, but the end of nations, the end of empires, it's something I study. I read it all the time. I love it. It always seems to happen slow and then all at once. It's crazy how often that happens. An empire will be at its peak and then 20 years later, everyone's still alive, gone, smoldering ruins. We are about to be a nation with a debt crisis that will forever alter your standard of living and my standard of living, and it's not 50 years away. You will live to see it. It's coming. Now, what should be happening right now is an emergency all-hands-on-deck meeting between Republicans, Democrats, Independents, and everybody. There should be an emergency session called now to discuss the few things the government's going to keep. Why? Because everything else must be slashed and burned in order to save the United States of America. Instead, these people never even bring it up. Or if they do, it'll be in some random passing, like the debt's some annoying thing you kind of have to just talk about briefly. There is an avalanche speeding toward us that will wipe us all out. And yet, we're talking about continuing resolutions. You say you want things to change, well, then it's got to get uncomfortable. I'm going to play you a video. It's very, very brief. It's only a couple seconds long. Patrick McHenry, he's the temporary speaker. He's not really speaker, speaker pro tem. He's speaker until they have a vote in a week to get a new speaker. He's a close friend of Kevin McCarthy, one of these establishment types. He was gaveling out the Congress yesterday. I want you to watch something, and I want you to watch how angry he is as he gavels this out. And then I'm going to ask you a question. Watch this.
Chair declares the House in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
Whew. Man, he's mad. Ugh, scary. So let me leave you with this. And I really want you to think about this. You follow politics. You're watching me here on I'm Right on the First TV. Name me one time. I'm not even asking for 2 or 5 or 10. I want you to name me one time in your entire life you saw Republican leadership, not some conservative firebrand, Republican leadership show that level of anger about any of the crimes they commit routinely on the floor of the House of Representatives. Did you see anybody in Republican leadership gaveling like that when the Inflation Reduction Act passed? Obamacare? Gigantic $1 trillion bill after $1 trillion bill? When's that last emergency meeting you remember where Republican leadership, they were so mad they were gaveling like that about the $33 trillion in debt that's about to end the United States of America? Can you name me even one time? You've never seen it. In order to get that level of anger and emotion and righteous indignation from the Republican leadership, all you have to do is take away the speakership from one of theirs. Oh, then they get mad. So don't ask me to love Kevin McCarthy or Matt Gaetz or the House or how everything went down. Frankly, don't ask me to care. But what I do know is the status quo, all these people talking about governing, there's going to be nothing left to govern without massive changes very soon. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right.